Hey, it's Lord Nurgle coming to you from the realm of chaos, and today I want to talk about an individual that is the one who basically brought me back into doing this commentary stuff. And you know, it's been a long time since I've done it, and I decided David Jaffe.
You have about as much mental capacity as a spider that I killed in my shower this morning.
There is something troubling with you, something absolutely wrong with you, and I'm gonna straight up say it. The things I'm gonna talk about in this video are directly talking about you and some very ridiculous things I've heard you spout from your mouth, because you are an individual that has a very, very large amount of hubris, who should not have nearly as much hubris as you do. And the reason I'm saying this is because I can't even believe the things you said, as well as the things you defend and say and want to champion, but then say the things I heard you recently say that you said. I know that was a bit of a tongue twister what I said there, but let me just say this. Before I begin this, I have multiple sclerosis. Meaning, I actually have literal brain damage. And have better thinking processes than you, Mr. Jaffe. Now, I'm not trying to say that as an insult. I'm trying to come at this in a somewhat slightly respectable manner, but also try to be a little entertaining here. You see, this guy Jaffe, Mr. Jaffe, I'm talking to you, that's right. He had the hubris to go after Vara of, I think her channel's like Dark Titan something, but Vara. Very nice woman. I mean, I've had my interactions with her in the past, and as a matter of fact, I've talked some smack about her, you know. I made a video that was criticizing something she made about Mortal Kombat 11 quite a few years ago. It caused a little bit of stir. It was a small storm in a teacup, and, you know, I buried the hatchet with her, and I even came out and did my apology because I was a little out of line with what I did. Which also helped me realize maybe I've gone a little too far back in the day in my commentary days, but then again, back then I was in a different headspace. But Jaffe. Look, I don't have a problem with someone who wants to criticize another person's opinion and their commentary. I welcome it even, you know. But Jaffe had the gall to go in there and literally say she is not intelligent enough to discuss certain topics, and then claim that she's only popular because she has nice red hair and is attractive. Now, I will admit, Vara is an attractive woman. She absolutely is. But what gets me about this, Jaffe, is seriously, you claim to be a man against misogyny. You claim to be a man who defends women and marginalized individuals or groups. You are a man who is, so far as I'm concerned, in the progressive side of things. Obviously, left-leaning. I'm not here to criticize your political beliefs. You're allowed to believe whatever you want to believe. I mean, seriously, if you want to believe that the flying spaghetti monster is real, you're more than welcome to believe such things. But you go as far as to call, well, everyone a grifter because they seem to just not have the opinions you have. Excuse me. And then you go even further, claiming that what you said about Vara, where you literally said that she's not smart enough to do this line of work, and that, you know, she's only gotten big and where she is due to the fact that she's a female and is attractive. My God. You know, I'm from the military. I spent 4 years serving in the United States Navy. I had to get out due to medical reasons, unfortunately. But one thing I'll tell you is, having been in the military, I can seriously say, yes, that world is a very much kind of a man's world in a lot of ways, where women do dwell. But let's be real, it is a very male-dominant space. And you do see misogyny, prejudice, and things of that nature while you are serving. You do see those things. It's not the military in its entirety, but you do see those things with some people. And I will tell you this, Jaffe. I've seen far less of that stuff than what I heard come from your mouth recently. Look, you called people grifters. A grifter's literally a scammer. So if an audience watches these videos, they enjoy the video, is it really grifting? Because they like to hear the subject matter this person is talking about? Does this person not deserve to make money off of the content they create that other people are entertained with and enjoy? How is that grifting? Tell me. There are many YouTubers out there who, honestly, put their dick in a grinder and should probably not put their dick in that grinder. There are a lot of places on the YouTube world that are like that. How are they all grifters? Now, see, here's the thing. If this was a case of, say, like I saw recently, like, I'm going to point out an individual, and then this is nothing against this YouTuber because, well, hey, I watch his videos too, but there's a guy in the Mortal Kombat community called True Underdog Gaming. And often I like his videos, but he has a problem with clickbait. Really bad clickbait. And recycling content. And I would say this could be concept of being, say, well, you know, a grifter, because to a sense, you're scamming and tricking people into clicking on your video to hear absolute nonsense. I would say you're not a grifter. Excuse me again. Because you know what your audience wants to hear, you provide for that audience, and they get entertainment value out of it, and don't you feel that you should be paid for that entertainment that you provide and that product you put out there? I think so. The same goes with Vara Dark. But let's just put it this way, then you try to say that you're not being misogynist. You're not being sexist. Okay, you know what? I'll be liberal with the term misogynist and misogyny. Misogyny is literally meaning prejudice or hatred towards females, correct? Okay, I'll give you that. Even though the phrase contempt is in there, and there's a great video by Altori who explains this contempt thing a lot better. But you know what? I'm not even going to go into that. I'm going to talk about this case with you. Excuse me. Allergies, once again. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to just say this. If it isn't misogynist, or isn't... Well, I'm not even going to say it isn't. If it isn't misogynist, fine. But it's definitely sexist and very chauvinistic. Because you did the equivalent of what I would say is telling Vara Dark to shut up and get back in the kitchen and make you a sandwich. She don't belong here. And how dare you, an individual who champions to speak for the underrepresented in many cases, one who is a liberal and a leftist who champions these things, to tell a woman, know her damn place and go back to where she belongs, to play the role of gatekeeper. People like yourself tend to complain about gatekeeping, tend to say, no, it's not okay. But yet here you are, telling Vara Dark How fucking dare you? Get out of here. I don't know. I'm just gonna call it like it is. It's sexism, straight up, through and through, textbook case, and there ain't nothing you can say about it. It's just the reality. You're a sexist. You can do all the mental gymnastics you want, you can say all the stupid things you want on Twitter. Doesn't make you not a sexist, especially after saying this. Now, I'm not here to honestly defend Vara. I was just baffled and shocked by the fact that you said what you had to say. So, let me go into my next part of this whole video here. Your claim that YouTube grifters, the anti-woke YouTubers, are what caused Dragon Age to fail. Though, you, from what I recall at the point that I've made this video, did not even, at the time, finish the game, or if you have finished the game, I haven't heard about you finishing it yet, but haven't played enough of the game to make this point. You call all of us, and all of them, YouTube grifters, and claim that the game is failing with that, but did you not sit down and think that maybe, just maybe, even though you seem to like this game, that maybe the game's failure has a lot more to do with it than just, oh, it's all the woke stuff. You know, it's all this other bullshit. Look, I can speak for myself in this way, and I can speak for looking at all the information I've seen. Before I talk about a subject, I like to do a lot of reading, I like to do a lot of video research and everything like that, just to kind of see what I'm talking about here, and what I've seen is there's a lot of information out there where one does not actually need to play this game to get an idea of whether or not it's worth their purchase or not. Let's be real, with the age of YouTube and Twitch and the gaming media and everything like that, one does not actually need to play the game to realize they don't want the game. You see, did you not realize that almost everyone and everything I've seen, especially outside the mainstream media, has said the game just has bad gameplay to show off. It's just not apparently fun to play. The atmosphere of the game is absolutely toned down compared to the previous Dragon Age games. Don't get me wrong. I loved the Dragon Age franchise. I'm a big fan of the original. I played all of them, except for this recent one. And I said no to it because I saw the gameplay did not match the originals at all whatsoever. The atmosphere is very childlike, Disney-fied garbage. And then let's talk about the terrible writing and the woke elements. The terrible writing isn't doing it any favors whatsoever, and then you have those woke elements that just make them stand out even more with the terrible writing. You know, it is possible to make a game be very good with woke elements. You know, I would say that the current Mortal Kombat has a little bit of that in there. The Horizon games have that stuff in it. But no one really complains because the games are good. They're fun. They're exciting. Dragon Age, on the other hand, has some of the absolutely most atrocious writing I've ever seen. And none of this thing represents anything from the past games, and don't even get me started on the character creator footage that I've seen. Look, I don't have a problem with the fact that they put the, you know, the top scar surgery stuff and all the pronouns. Honestly, I could care less about those things. But if your game is good, those things don't typically matter. Look at Baldur's Gate 3. It's a very woke game. It has well, not say woke, but it has a lot of these woke elements in it, but most people don't seem to care because the game seems to be fun and has put its gameplay and story ahead of its messages. It's not there to preach. It's not there to tell you that every time you say the wrong thing, you need to go pull a barf. You know, maybe that might just be the problem. But there's so much information out there that you can view any of that to really make your own choice on saying, I don't think I want to purchase this game. But since you're saying that this game is so good and the only people talking bad are grifters and things like this and anti-woke assholes, here's my question. Does that make Angry Joe an anti-woke asshole? Because last I checked, Angry Joe is kind of in that camp. And even he said in his review that he gave it a 3 out of 10, that the writing is so poor, it almost ruins what they're trying to do for marginalized people. So tell me, how is it grifting? I don't understand. I am confused. But to conclude all of this, you know, Jaffe, you've been out of the industry for quite some time. You know, things have changed. And you might say, well, yeah, they have changed. They've gotten more liberal. Well, have you not noticed that lately these games that put this woke stuff apparently ahead of everything else, or these just terrible gameplay and all of these bad AAA games lately that are from big franchises are just not selling anymore? They're not making the money. And it seems that you just don't know how to cope with the fact that maybe you're just a little too old for this now. But you know what? I'm not even going to say truly that, because I'm in my 40s and I'm still commentating and talking about things. But one thing to keep in mind, I thought your name sounded very familiar outside of the creation of God of War. So I did a little bit of research, a little bit of digging, and I found one of the most ridiculous things you ever tweeted. Yeah, I thought I remembered you from this, because I was like, wait a minute. This was back in, I don't even remember how long ago it was, but you made an interesting tweet about 5 prom date couples in high school, each of them wearing a tuxedo with a shirt underneath representing a different DC hero, and their dates wearing matching dresses for each of these DC heroes. And they're showing it off. You know what? Look right here on the screen. Here's an image of it. Oh, and a tweet by you claiming, as a comic geek, I so want to love this prom picture, but it's so grossly unaware of how sexist it is that I just can't. That's right, everybody out there listening and watching. David Jaffe was the genius behind this stupid tweet, claiming that high school kids are sexist because they did something cute on prom. Think about that for a few minutes. So, Jaffe, you're just a guy who obviously doesn't understand why something like Dragon Age failed. You know, a game that just was... You ignored all the negative reviews out there. You barely listened to any of the YouTubers you claimed to that were talking shit. Excuse me once more. And you act like your word is gospel. What I call that is narcissism. I call that a man with hubris, and me being Nurgle. You know, a guy who's a fan of the Warhammer universe and also has a Slaanesh army. Pretty much understands the concept of hubris and narcissism. So what I have to say here is Jaffe,
you just don't know how to do this.